There's a constant, invisible battle happening in your house right now. Seriously, the comfortable little world inside your walls is in a permanent state of war against the environment right outside. And the commander of your home's army? Well, that's your heating and cooling system. And we've all been there, haven't we? It's always the hottest day of the year, or maybe you've got a house full of people coming over, and then silence. The AC just gives up. It's almost like these machines have a sixth sense for failing at the absolute worst, most inconvenient moment possible. And look, this isn't just a minor inconvenience. It can feel like a genuine crisis. One of the service companies we looked into said it best. When it's 105 degrees out, every single minute without that cool air feels completely unbearable. The stakes are just incredibly high. So to really understand why this happens everywhere, we're going to zoom way in on one specific place that is a perfect, almost extreme case study for this very problem: Lake Elsinore, California. Okay, so why Lake Elsinore? Well, it's because it's a place where a home's comfort system faces a totally relentless year-round environmental assault. It's basically an extreme stress test that shows us exactly where the breaking points are for the technology we all depend on. So what makes it so tough? Well, geographically, it's caught in this really unique climatic pinch. You get the brutal, dry heat of the desert slamming into the moisture of a valley. It's really the worst of both worlds, and it creates this incredibly harsh environment for any machine that's just trying to keep you comfortable. Let's just break down the assault by the numbers. First, it just starts with pure, raw heat. Summer temps easily climb to 100, even 110 degrees. And to fight that heat, the air conditioners are forced to run for up to 16 hours a day. That's not just running, that is a grueling endurance marathon, day after day for months on end. And get this, the fight isn't just happening outside. Inside the attic, temperatures can soar to 140 degrees. That heat is literally baking the ductwork that's supposed to be delivering that precious cool air. It's like trying to drink an ice-cold soda through a straw you just pulled out of a fire. You might think, well, at least winter offers a break. But nope, it's just a different kind of battle. Instead of punishing heat and dust, you get nights that drop into the 30s and all this corrosive moisture. That causes parts to expand and contract under severe thermal stress. There is no off-season in this war. So all of that external pressure, it leads to some very predictable internal consequences. So let's kind of do an autopsy on a failing system to see exactly what gives out when it's under this kind of constant stress. Right away, you can see the usual suspects. Compressors, the heart of the system. They just wear down from that constant runtime. Capacitors, the little things that help the motor start. They literally bake in the heat until they fail. The sun causes tiny refrigerant leaks. Dust chokes the airflow. It's really death by 1,000 cuts. And what makes it all worse is the history of the homes themselves. Different decades of construction have left behind their own unique problems. You've got homes from the 70s with ancient, leaky ductwork. Then you have the boom-era homes from the 2000s, where builders often put in systems that were too small from day one, just to save a few bucks. And even today, some manufactured homes have rooftop units that just get absolutely destroyed by the sun. So, whether it's old ducts or an undersized unit, all these issues lead to that same moment of crisis. When one of these overstressed systems finally breaks down, the homeowner faces this huge, really costly decision. Do you sink more money into repairing this aging unit, or do you just bite the bullet and replace the whole thing? Well, it turns out the pros actually have a simple little rule of thumb to help guide this decision. It's called the $5,000 rule. And the formula couldn't be easier. You just multiply the age of your system, in years, by the estimated cost of the repair. Let's see how this actually works. Okay, let's say you have an 8-year-old system, and it needs a $400 repair. So 8 times 400 is $3,200. Since that's less than $5,000, a repair probably makes sense. But now look at a 15-year-old system with that same $400 repair. 15 times 400 is $6,000. That's over the line, and the math is basically telling you it's time to start thinking about a replacement. So you've made the call. You're either going to fix it or replace it. But here's the thing, not all help is created equal. It's so important to understand what legitimate professional service actually looks like, because the standards, they really matter. A professional service call really shouldn't be a mystery. It follows a pretty clear 3-step process. First, you schedule the call, and you get a clear window for when they'll arrive. Second, The technician figures out the real problem and gets your approval on the work and the cost before they start. And third, and this is key, after the repair, they test the whole system to make sure the fix actually worked. Now, behind that simple process are some things that are totally non-negotiable. These are the regulations that protect you and your investment. Things like state energy codes, pulling local permits, following EPA rules for handling refrigerants safely, and doing a crucial manual J calculation to make sure any new system is actually the right size for your house. So why is all that permit stuff such a big deal? Well, because permitted work gets inspected. That ensures it's safe and it protects your home's value. Unpermitted work, on the other hand, well, that exposes you to liability. It can cause huge problems when you try to sell, and you have absolutely no guarantee of quality. All right, let's zoom back out. We've been deep in the weeds of Lake Elsinore, but the lessons we've learned there about the war between a house and its climate, they apply to every single one of us, no matter where we live. Here's the core takeaway, plain and simple. In a standard, pretty mild climate, an HVAC system might last you 15 to 20 years. But you take that exact same system and drop it into an extreme climate, and that lifespan can get slashed down to just 10 to 15 years. Your local weather is actively shortening the life of one of the most expensive appliances in your home. So you have to remember this. The breakdown of your comfort system, it isn't really about a single broken part. That part is just a casualty of the war. The real enemy, the real issue, is the larger, constant, invisible battle your home is fighting against its climate every single day. And that leaves us with one last thought to take with you. Whether it's the intense heat of a desert, the corrosive salt air from the coast, or the deep, bitter freezes of the north, just take a second and think about it. What is your home's biggest climate challenge?